Alex stood at the edge of his small apartment in San Francisco, a city that pulsed with life and creativity. The walls were adorned with his photographs, snapshots of fleeting moments, vibrant street scenes, and the occasional portrait of friends caught in laughter. Yet today, as he stared out at the bustling streets below, he felt a sense of restlessness creeping in. His best friend, Chloe, had just sent him a text that would change everything. "Hey, I know you're free this summer. Want to come stay with us in Seattle? Dad will be home, but it'll be fun." He read the message twice, a mix of excitement and apprehension swirling in his chest. Chloe's father, Nathan Bennett, was a man of many talents, a successful architect with an eye for design and a heart that seemed to carry the weight of the world. Alex had always admired Nathan from afar. He was charming and intelligent, with a magnetic presence that drew people in. But the thought of sharing a space with him for an entire summer was both thrilling and daunting. After a moment's hesitation, Alex typed back, "Sure. I'd love to." As the days passed and preparations unfolded, Alex found himself daydreaming about what the summer might hold. He imagined long conversations over coffee, exploring Seattle's art scene, and perhaps capturing stunning images of the city through his lens. But beneath that excitement lay an undercurrent of anxiety. What if things became awkward? What if he felt something more for Nathan than just admiration? When the day finally arrived for him to leave San Francisco, Alex packed his camera gear and a few clothes into an old duffel bag. He took one last look around his apartment before locking the door behind him. The train ride to Seattle felt surreal. He watched the landscape shift from urban sprawl to lush greenery, each mile pulling him closer to an uncertain adventure. Upon arrival at the Bennett household, Alex was greeted by the familiar warmth of Chloe's home. The scent of fresh coffee wafted through the air as he stepped inside. Nathan was in the kitchen, his back turned as he prepared breakfast. The moment Alex entered, Nathan turned around with a smile that lit up the room. "Alex, it's great to see you," Nathan said, his voice deep and inviting. "Thanks for having me," Alex replied, feeling a flutter in his stomach. They exchanged pleasantries while Nathan set down a plate piled high with pancakes. The kitchen felt alive with laughter as they reminisced about old memories, Chloe's childhood antics that often left them both in stitches. Yet beneath their light-hearted banter lay an unspoken tension that neither dared to acknowledge. Chloe arrived shortly after, her energy filling the space like sunshine breaking through clouds. "Alex, you made it," she exclaimed, pulling him into a warm hug. "Yeah. It's good to be here," he replied, glancing at Nathan who watched them with a hint of amusement in his eyes. As breakfast wrapped up and Chloe headed off to unpack her things, Alex found himself alone with Nathan for the first time. The silence between them felt heavy yet charged with potential. Nathan leaned against the counter, casually sipping his coffee while observing Alex. "So, how's your photography going?" Nathan asked, genuinely interested. "It's good. I've been experimenting with some new techniques," Alex replied, feeling encouraged by Nathan's attention. "Maybe you can show me some of your work later," Nathan suggested, a spark of curiosity lighting up his expression. "Definitely," Alex said, unable to hide his excitement. As they talked about art and life over coffee, Alex couldn't shake off the feeling that this summer might lead him down a path he never expected. There was something about Nathan, his intelligence, his kindness, that drew Alex in like a moth to a flame. Yet he also felt a nagging sense of caution. After all, this was Chloe's father. The day unfolded with laughter and shared stories as they explored Seattle together. They visited art galleries and walked along the waterfront where street performers entertained passers-by. Each moment spent with Nathan deepened their connection. It was as if they were two pieces of a puzzle slowly coming together. As night fell and they returned home under a sky sprinkled with stars, Alex couldn't shake off the feeling that something significant was brewing between them, a tension that both excited and terrified him. In bed that night, as he reflected on the day's events, Alex found himself staring at the ceiling lost in thought. He wondered what tomorrow would bring and whether he could navigate this new dynamic without crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed. But deep down inside him stirred an undeniable truth: this summer would change everything. The morning sun streamed through the window of the guest room, casting a warm glow across the walls. Alex stirred awake, the events of the previous day still fresh in his mind. He could hear the faint sounds of Chloe and Nathan in the kitchen, their laughter mingling with the clatter of dishes. A sense of comfort washed over him, but so did a wave of uncertainty. What would today hold? After a quick shower and a change into a casual t-shirt and jeans, Alex made his way downstairs. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, and he couldn't help but smile at the sight before him. Nathan stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with an ease that spoke of years spent perfecting his craft. Chloe was perched on a stool, scrolling through her phone, her hair tied up in a messy bun. "Morning," Alex greeted, taking a seat at the kitchen island. "Good morning. Sleep well?" Chloe asked without looking up. "Yeah, like a rock," Alex replied, stealing a glance at Nathan who turned to face him with a warm smile. "Glad to hear it. I made extra pancakes just for you," Nathan said, placing a plate in front of Alex. "Thanks. You're spoiling me," Alex chuckled as he dug into the fluffy pancakes topped with fresh berries. As they ate, conversation flowed easily. They discussed their plans for the day. Chloe had suggested visiting Pike Place Market, a bustling hub known for its vibrant stalls and street performers. Nathan agreed to join them, and Alex felt a thrill at the prospect of spending more time with him. After breakfast, they set out into the sunny Seattle morning. The market was alive with energy, vendors shouted out their prices while tourists wandered from stall to stall. The smell of fresh flowers mingled with that of roasted coffee beans, creating an intoxicating atmosphere. Chloe led the way, her excitement infectious as she pointed out various stalls selling everything from handmade jewelry to artisanal cheeses. Alex found himself captivated not just by the sights but by Nathan's presence beside him. They shared quiet jokes and exchanged glances that lingered just a moment too long. At one point, they stopped to watch a street performer juggling flaming torches. The crowd gasped as he tossed them high into the air, and Alex felt Nathan's arm brush against his as they both leaned in closer to get a better view. It was a small moment, but it sent an unexpected jolt through him. "Impressive, right?" Nathan said, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Definitely. I could never do something like that," Alex replied, trying to focus on the performance rather than the warmth radiating from Nathan's body. Afterward, they wandered through the market's famous fish stalls where fishmongers tossed salmon back and forth like it was an everyday occurrence. Chloe laughed as one of them offered her a chance to catch a fish herself. With encouragement from both men, she stepped up and managed to catch one, much to everyone's delight. "See, you're a natural," Nathan cheered as Chloe held up her catch triumphantly. Alex took pictures throughout their adventure, capturing Chloe's joy and Nathan's easy laughter. Each click of his camera felt like it was preserving not just moments but emotions, an unspoken connection that continued to grow between him and Nathan. As they strolled along the waterfront later in the day, they stopped at an ice cream stand. Nathan ordered 3 cones, one for each of them, and handed them out with an easy smile. They found a bench overlooking Puget Sound where seagulls squawked overhead and boats drifted lazily by. "This is perfect," Chloe said between bites of her ice cream. "I can't believe we're finally doing this." Alex nodded but found himself lost in thought as he watched Nathan enjoy his ice cream. There was something about the way he savored each bite that made Alex's heart race, a simple act yet filled with an intimacy that felt electric. "You should show me some of your photos later," Nathan suggested suddenly, pulling Alex from his reverie. "Sure, I'd love to," Alex replied, trying to keep his voice steady despite the fluttering in his chest. As they continued chatting and laughing together, Alex couldn't shake off the feeling that this summer was leading him down an unexpected path, one filled with excitement but also uncertainty about where it might ultimately lead. Later that evening, after returning home and spending time watching movies together on the couch, Chloe eventually excused herself to go to bed. Alex found himself alone with Nathan once more as they cleaned up the remnants of their snack, a bowl of popcorn scattered across the table. "Thanks for today," Nathan said softly as he rinsed off dishes in the sink. "It was nice having you here." Alex felt warmth spread through him at those words. "I had a great time too." Their eyes met for a brief moment before Nathan turned back to washing dishes. That fleeting connection lingered in the air like an unspoken promise, a hint of something more waiting just beneath the surface. As night fell and silence enveloped the house, Alex lay in bed replaying every moment from their day together, the laughter, the shared glances, and that undeniable spark between him and Nathan that seemed to grow stronger with each passing hour. He closed his eyes and let himself dream about what tomorrow might bring, A day filled with possibilities and perhaps even more revelations about himself and his feelings for Nathan Bennett. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the curtains, gently nudging Alex awake. He stretched lazily, a smile creeping onto his face as he recalled the previous day's adventures. The warmth of the sun felt like a promise, a hint that today could be just as exciting, if not more so. After a quick shower and a simple breakfast of toast and jam, Alex made his way downstairs. Chloe was still asleep, but Nathan was already in the kitchen, preparing coffee. The rich aroma filled the air, drawing Alex in like a moth to a flame. "Morning, Alex," Nathan greeted, looking up from the coffee pot. He wore a casual t-shirt that hugged his frame just right, and Alex felt his heart skip a beat. "How did you sleep?" "Really well, thanks. I think I'm finally getting used to this place," Alex replied, trying to sound casual as he poured himself a cup of coffee. Nathan leaned against the counter, his presence both comforting and electrifying. "Good to hear. Any plans for today?" Alex thought for a moment. "I was hoping we could explore some more of Seattle. Maybe check out the art scene." Nathan's eyes lit up with enthusiasm. "That sounds perfect. There's an art walk happening downtown today. We can see some local galleries and maybe even meet some artists." "Count me in," Alex said, feeling a rush of excitement at the thought of spending more time with Nathan. After Chloe finally emerged from her room, they all quickly got ready and headed out. The drive downtown was filled with light-hearted banter and laughter as they navigated through the bustling streets of Seattle. The city felt alive, vibrant with colors and sounds that fueled Alex's creativity. Once they parked and stepped out onto the sidewalk, the atmosphere shifted to one of anticipation. The art walk was in full swing, people milled about, sipping drinks from colorful cups while artists showcased their work on easels set up along the street. "This is amazing," Chloe exclaimed as they walked hand in hand down the avenue lined with galleries. "Look at all this talent." As they strolled from one gallery to another, Alex found himself captivated not just by the artwork but by Nathan's insights and observations about each piece. Nathan had an eye for detail, he could see layers in the work that others might miss. It made Alex admire him even more. At one gallery, they paused in front of a large abstract painting that seemed to pulsate with energy. "What do you think?" Nathan asked, tilting his head slightly as he studied it. "I love how chaotic it feels," Alex replied. "It's like you can feel the artist's emotions spilling out onto the canvas." "Exactly," Nathan said with enthusiasm. "Art is such an incredible way to express what words often can't." Their conversation flowed seamlessly as they moved from one piece to another, discussing colors, techniques, and emotions behind each artwork. With each shared thought, Alex felt their connection deepening, an unspoken bond forming between them. At one point, they stepped outside for some fresh air. The sun was beginning to set, casting a golden hue over everything around them. Nathan leaned against a railing overlooking the street below while Chloe wandered off to take pictures. "Can I ask you something?" Nathan said suddenly, breaking the comfortable silence between them. "Of course," Alex replied, his heart racing slightly at the intensity in Nathan's gaze. "What do you want out of your photography? What drives you?" The question caught Alex off guard for a moment. He had never really articulated his passion before. "I guess, I want to capture moments that tell stories," he said slowly. "I want people to feel something when they see my work, joy or nostalgia or even sadness." Nathan nodded thoughtfully. "That's beautiful." There was a pause as their eyes locked again, it felt like time stood still for just a heartbeat. "Do you ever think about how art connects people?" Nathan continued softly. "How it can bridge gaps we didn't even know existed." Alex swallowed hard. There was something profound in Nathan's words that resonated deeply within him. "Absolutely," he replied earnestly. "It brings us together in ways nothing else can." Just then, Chloe returned with an excited grin plastered across her face. "You guys have to check this out," she exclaimed, pulling them toward another gallery where live music spilled out into the street. As they entered the gallery filled with paintings and sculptures illuminated by soft lights, Alex couldn't help but steal glances at Nathan throughout their visit. Each time their eyes met, it felt like an electric charge passed between them, a silent acknowledgement of something burgeoning beneath the surface. Later that evening, after exploring several more galleries and enjoying street performances by local musicians, they found themselves back at Nathan's house. The living room was cozy and inviting, Soft light flickered from lamps scattered around the room. Chloe plopped down on the couch with a satisfied sigh while Alex took off his shoes and settled into an armchair nearby. Nathan poured them all glasses of wine before joining them. "That was such an incredible day," Chloe said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I love discovering new artists." "Me too," Alex added, feeling grateful for this experience, and for Nathan's presence beside him. As they chatted about their favorite pieces from the day and shared laughs over silly moments captured on camera by Chloe, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of contentment wash over him. But beneath that warmth lay an undeniable tension, an awareness of how close he sat to Nathan and how easy it had become to forget about everything else when they were together. Eventually, as night deepened outside and stars twinkled overhead, Chloe excused herself to go to bed once more. Left alone with Nathan again felt both thrilling and nerve-wracking. "Thanks for today," Nathan said quietly as they cleaned up together in the kitchen after Chloe disappeared upstairs. "I really enjoyed it," Alex replied sincerely. Nathan turned to face him fully now. There was something intense in his gaze that made Alex's breath hitch slightly in his throat. "I've enjoyed having you here more than I expected," Nathan admitted softly. The air between them thickened with unspoken words, the kind that lingered on the tip of their tongues but remained unvoiced for fear of crossing boundaries neither wanted to acknowledge yet. As they finished washing dishes in silence punctuated only by occasional glances and shy smiles, Alex felt a mix of hope and trepidation building inside him, a desire for something deeper but unsure how to navigate it without risking everything. Finally done with chores, they settled into comfortable chairs in the living room once more, two souls sharing space yet teetering on the edge of something profound waiting to unfold. In that moment of quiet intimacy surrounded by shadows cast by flickering candlelight, Alex couldn't help but wonder what tomorrow might bring, what new revelations awaited them both as this summer continued to unfold like an intricate tapestry woven from threads of friendship and desire. The next morning, Alex awoke to the soft sound of rain tapping against the window. The overcast sky cast a muted light across the room, creating a cozy atmosphere that made him want to curl up and stay in bed. But today was different. Today felt charged with anticipation. He could hardly shake off the thrill from the previous evening, those lingering glances, the unspoken words hanging in the air between him and Nathan. After a quick shower, he dressed in a comfortable hoodie and jeans, his mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead. Would they continue to dance around their feelings, or would something finally shift? As he made his way downstairs, the smell of coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the sound of Chloe humming softly in the kitchen. "Morning," she called out as he entered. "I hope you're ready for a cozy day in." "Morning. What's the plan?" Alex asked, pouring himself a cup of coffee. "I thought we could have a lazy day at home," Chloe said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Maybe watch some movies and order in." "That sounds perfect," Alex replied, relieved at the thought of spending time together without the pressure of going out. As they settled into the living room with blankets and snacks, Nathan joined them shortly after. He looked relaxed in a simple t-shirt and sweatpants, his hair slightly tousled from sleep. "What's all this?" he asked with a playful grin. "Movie marathon," Chloe announced. "You're joining us, right?" "Of course," Nathan replied, plopping down on the couch beside Alex. The warmth radiating from him sent a shiver of excitement through Alex's body. They started with a classic comedy that had everyone laughing within minutes. As they watched, Alex couldn't help but steal glances at Nathan when he thought no one was looking. Each time their eyes met, it felt electric, a silent acknowledgement of something deeper simmering beneath their playful banter. During one particularly funny scene, Chloe burst into laughter and leaned back against the couch, her head thrown back. "This is so good. I love this movie." Alex joined in her laughter but felt his heart race as Nathan turned to him with an amused smile. "What do you think? Should we add this to our list of favorites?" Nathan asked playfully. "Definitely. It's a classic," Alex replied, trying to keep his tone light even as his pulse quickened. As the hours passed and they moved through several films, each one filled with laughter and shared moments, Alex noticed how easily Nathan slipped into conversation with him. They exchanged jokes and comments about characters on screen, their chemistry palpable and undeniable. At one point during a quieter film, Chloe excused herself to grab more popcorn from the kitchen, leaving Alex and Nathan alone together. The atmosphere shifted slightly, it felt charged with unspoken tension that hung heavily in the air. You know, Nathan began softly, breaking the silence as he turned to face Alex fully. I've really enjoyed having you here this summer. Alex's heart raced at those words. Me too, he replied earnestly, feeling vulnerable yet hopeful. Nathan hesitated for a moment before continuing. I didn't expect to connect with you like this, on so many levels. Alex swallowed hard. It felt like they were teetering on the edge of something monumental. I didn't either, he admitted quietly. Just then, Chloe returned with an oversized bowl of popcorn, her cheerful demeanor breaking the intensity of the moment. What did I miss? She asked innocently as she settled back onto the couch. Nothing important, Nathan replied quickly, sharing a knowing glance with Alex that sent shivers down his spine. As they resumed watching movies, Alex felt both relieved and frustrated by Chloe's interruption. He wanted to explore that moment further, to dive into what lay beneath their friendly banter, but now it felt like they were back at square one. Later that evening, after Chloe had gone to bed once more and Nathan was cleaning up in the kitchen, Alex found himself standing at the doorway watching him work. There was something so domestic about the scene, Nathan moving effortlessly around the kitchen as he washed dishes and organized things while humming softly to himself. Need any help? Alex asked finally, stepping into the kitchen. Nathan turned around with a smile. I've got it covered. But thanks for offering. Alex leaned against the counter, watching him for a moment longer before gathering his courage. Can we talk? Nathan paused mid-motion, turning to face him fully. Of course. The air felt thick with anticipation as Alex took a deep breath. About earlier, I just wanted to say that I feel like there's something between us, a connection that goes beyond friendship. Nathan's expression softened as he set down the dish he was holding. I've felt it too, he admitted quietly. But I didn't want to complicate things, especially with Chloe around. I understand, Alex said quickly. But I don't want to ignore this feeling either. Nathan stepped closer, their proximity sent waves of electricity coursing through Alex's veins. Neither do I, he said softly. In that moment, everything else faded away, the dishes piled high in the sink, Chloe's laughter echoing from upstairs, leaving just them in this small kitchen filled with unspoken desires. Before either could second-guess themselves, Nathan reached out and brushed his fingers against Alex's arm, a simple touch that ignited something deep within him. It felt like an invitation to step into unknown territory together. With his heart pounding wildly in his chest, Alex leaned closer until their lips were just inches apart. The world outside ceased to exist as they shared that suspended moment, two souls drawn together by an undeniable force. Then it happened. Nathan closed the gap between them, capturing Alex's lips in a soft yet fervent kiss that sent shockwaves through his entire being. It was everything Alex had fantasized about, the warmth of Nathan's mouth against his own igniting every nerve ending as they melted into each other. Time stood still as they kissed, an exploration filled with tenderness and urgency that spoke volumes about what lay beneath their friendship. When they finally pulled away breathless and wide-eyed, reality crashed back in like a tidal wave. What did we just do? Nathan breathed out softly, still holding onto Alex's gaze as if searching for answers within it. I think we just crossed a line, Alex replied breathlessly but couldn't help but smile at how exhilarating it felt. Nathan chuckled nervously but there was also relief etched on his face. Yeah, but maybe it was worth crossing. As they stood there in silence wrapped up in each other's presence, their hearts racing from what had just transpired, Alex couldn't shake off the feeling that this summer had transformed into something extraordinary, a journey filled with passion and discovery waiting just beyond their grasp. The morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a soft glow across the room as Alex lay in bed, his heart still racing from the kiss he had shared with Nathan the night before. He replayed the moment over and over in his mind, a mix of exhilaration and anxiety swirling within him. Had they really crossed a line? What would this mean for their friendship, and for Chloe? As he finally pushed himself out of bed, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of uncertainty. He didn't want to ruin the bond he had with Nathan or put Chloe in an awkward position. Yet, he couldn't deny the electric connection that had sparked between him and Nathan. It felt too real to ignore. After a quick shower, Alex made his way downstairs, hoping to find Nathan alone so they could talk about what had happened. Instead, he found Chloe sitting at the kitchen table, her hair still messy from sleep as she sipped her coffee. Morning, she chirped, looking up at him with a bright smile. Did you sleep well? Yeah, I did, Alex replied, forcing a smile despite the turmoil inside him. How about you? Pretty good. I'm excited for today. I was thinking we could go out for brunch and then maybe hit up that new gallery downtown, she suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. Sounds great, Alex said, trying to sound enthusiastic as well. He just hoped that Nathan would be on board with whatever was planned. Moments later, Nathan joined them in the kitchen, looking fresh and relaxed. Good morning, guys, he greeted cheerfully. The sight of him sent butterflies fluttering in Alex's stomach. Morning, Chloe replied, beaming at her father. We were just talking about brunch. You in? Absolutely. Let me just grab my things, Nathan said before heading back upstairs. As soon as he was out of earshot, Chloe turned to Alex with a curious expression. So, how are things between you and Dad? Alex's heart raced at her question. What do you mean? He asked, trying to keep his voice steady. I don't know, she said with a teasing smile. You two seem to have gotten closer since you've been here. Alex felt heat rise to his cheeks. We've just been hanging out more, he replied carefully. Chloe raised an eyebrow but didn't press further as Nathan returned, ready to head out. They piled into the car and drove through Seattle's bustling streets, the city alive with energy and anticipation for the day ahead. At the brunch spot, a cozy cafe filled with local art and the smell of freshly baked goods, they settled into a corner table. As they perused the menu, Alex couldn't help but steal glances at Nathan across the table. There was something so magnetic about him, his laughter came easily, and his eyes sparkled with warmth. After placing their orders, Chloe chatted animatedly about her internship and plans for the future while Alex listened intently, trying to focus on her words rather than the tension simmering beneath the surface with Nathan. Once their food arrived, fluffy pancakes for Chloe and an omelet for Nathan, Alex felt a wave of relief wash over him as they dug into their meals. The conversation flowed easily again until Chloe excused herself to use the restroom. As soon as she left, Alex turned to Nathan, feeling an urgency to address what had happened between them. Can we talk? He asked quietly. Nathan nodded, his expression serious yet understanding. Yeah, I just wanted to say, about last night, Alex started but struggled to find the right words. Nathan leaned forward slightly, his gaze steady on Alex's face. I know it was unexpected, he said softly. But I don't regret it. Alex felt a rush of relief mixed with fear. I don't either, he admitted. But what does this mean for us? For Chloe? Nathan sighed deeply, running a hand through his hair as if searching for clarity amidst confusion. I care about you, Alex. But I also care about my daughter. I don't want to come between you two, Alex said earnestly. I get that, Nathan replied thoughtfully. But we can't ignore what's happening between us either. Just then, Chloe returned to the table with a bright smile that faded slightly when she noticed their serious expressions. What did I miss? She asked innocently. Nothing important, Nathan said quickly, giving Alex a meaningful look that conveyed both reassurance and caution. As they finished brunch and headed toward the gallery downtown, Alex felt a mix of excitement and dread building inside him. He wanted to explore this new dynamic with Nathan but feared what it might mean for their friendship, and for Chloe's feelings. The gallery was filled with stunning artwork from local artists, vibrant colors danced across canvases while sculptures invited touch and exploration. As they wandered through the exhibits together, Alex found himself gravitating toward Nathan's side more often than not. They discussed each piece passionately, Nathan's insights inspired Alex's own thoughts about art and creativity. But every time their hands brushed against each other or their eyes met across a crowded room filled with art lovers, it sent shivers down Alex's spine, a reminder of their shared secret lingering just beneath the surface. At one point during their visit, they stepped outside for some fresh air while Chloe admired a particularly striking mural nearby. Are you okay? Nathan asked quietly as they stood side by side on the sidewalk. I'm just trying to process everything, Alex admitted honestly. Nathan nodded in understanding before leaning closer so only Alex could hear him. Let's take this one step at a time. Alex swallowed hard. It felt like both reassurance and an acknowledgement of how complicated things had become between them all. As they returned home later that evening after an eventful day filled with art and laughter, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of uncertainty settling over him once more. He wanted nothing more than to explore this connection with Nathan but feared how it might affect everything else, the friendship he cherished with Chloe and his budding relationship with her father. That night as he lay in bed staring up at the ceiling lost in thought once more, wondering what tomorrow would bring, he realized that navigating these feelings would require honesty and courage from all three of them. The next morning dawned with a sense of heaviness in the air, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Alex lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, his mind racing with thoughts of Nathan and Chloe. The kiss they had shared felt like a beautiful secret, but it also carried a weight that threatened to unravel everything. He knew they needed to talk, needed to confront the reality of their situation. After a restless night, he finally mustered the courage to face the day. He showered and dressed quickly, his heart pounding in anticipation of what might unfold. As he made his way downstairs, he could hear Chloe humming softly in the kitchen, the comforting sounds of breakfast being prepared filling the air. "Morning," she called out cheerfully when she saw him. "Morning," Alex replied, forcing a smile despite the knot in his stomach. Nathan joined them shortly after, looking relaxed yet somehow more serious than usual. "Good morning, Alex. Ready for another day?" he asked, his eyes searching Alex's face for something unspoken. "Yeah," Alex said, trying to sound enthusiastic. "What's on the agenda?" Chloe chimed in, "I thought we could go for a hike at Discovery Park. It's supposed to be beautiful today." "That sounds great," Nathan agreed. "Fresh air will do us all good." As they finished breakfast and prepared for their outing, Alex felt a mix of excitement and dread. The hike would be a perfect opportunity to talk privately with Nathan, but he also worried about how Chloe would react if she sensed anything amiss between them. Once they arrived at Discovery Park, the sun shone brightly overhead, illuminating the lush greenery that surrounded them. The trails wound through towering trees and offered breathtaking views of Puget Sound. As they began their hike, Chloe led the way, chatting animatedly about her plans for the upcoming school year. Alex walked beside Nathan, their shoulders brushing occasionally as they navigated the path. Each touch sent sparks of electricity through him, reminding him of their shared secret. He could feel Nathan's presence beside him, a comforting anchor amidst the chaos of his thoughts. After a while, Chloe paused to take pictures of the scenery, giving Alex and Nathan a moment alone as they stood slightly apart from her. "Can we talk?" Alex asked quietly, his heart racing as he turned to face Nathan. "Of course," Nathan replied, his expression serious yet warm. They stepped off the trail into a small clearing surrounded by trees. The sounds of nature enveloped them, the rustling leaves and distant birdsong creating an intimate cocoon away from Chloe's cheerful chatter. "I've been thinking about us," Alex began hesitantly. "About what happened, and what it means." Nathan nodded slowly, his gaze steady on Alex's face. "I've been thinking about it too," he said softly. "I care about you deeply, but I don't want to hurt Chloe." "I don't want that either," Alex admitted. "But I can't ignore how I feel about you." Nathan took a deep breath, stepping closer as if closing the distance between them would help bridge the gap of uncertainty that loomed over them. "I feel it too," he said earnestly. "But we need to be honest with her." Alex felt a rush of relief mixed with apprehension at Nathan's words. "You're right. But how do we even begin that conversation?" Nathan ran a hand through his hair as he considered their options. "We'll have to find a moment when she's receptive, when we can explain everything without making her feel blindsided." Just then, Chloe called out from a distance, her voice filled with excitement as she beckoned them over to see something spectacular. They quickly composed themselves and returned to her side. "What did I miss?" she asked innocently as they approached. Nothing important," Nathan replied smoothly, sharing a glance with Alex that conveyed both reassurance and urgency. As they continued their hike, Alex felt torn between exhilaration and anxiety. He loved spending time with Nathan, every shared laugh and lingering glance only deepened his feelings for him. But he also cherished his friendship with Chloe and didn't want to jeopardize it. After reaching a scenic overlook where they paused to take in the breathtaking view of the water below, Chloe pulled out her phone to capture the moment. "This is amazing," she exclaimed as she snapped pictures of both Alex and Nathan standing together against the backdrop of nature's beauty. As they posed together for photos, Chloe playfully directing them, Alex couldn't help but feel an ache in his chest at how normal everything seemed on the surface while underneath lay an emotional storm brewing just out of sight. Later that evening after returning home from their hike, Alex felt an overwhelming sense of urgency build within him. They couldn't put off this conversation any longer, it needed to happen now before things spiraled further out of control. As dinner was winding down, Chloe animatedly recounting stories from her internship while Nathan listened intently. Alex exchanged glances with Nathan across the table once more. It was time. Chloe, Alex said suddenly, interrupting her flow of stories gently but firmly. Can we talk about something important? Chloe looked up from her plate, surprise flickering across her features before concern settled in her eyes. Sure, what's up? Nathan cleared his throat beside him but nodded encouragingly at Alex. I think it's important that we're honest with each other, Alex began carefully. About how things have changed since I've been here. Chloe tilted her head slightly but remained silent as if sensing the gravity behind his words. I care about you both deeply, he continued slowly, feeling Nathan's supportive presence beside him. And I need you to know that what happened between me and your dad, it wasn't planned. Chloe's eyes widened slightly as she absorbed his words, confusion mixed with hurt flickered across her face. It just happened, Nathan added gently but firmly beside him. We didn't mean for it to complicate things between us. Complicate? Chloe echoed softly, her voice trembling slightly as realization washed over her face. I didn't want you to find out any other way, Alex said earnestly. You're my best friend, and I love you like family. Chloe looked between them, her father and her best friend, as emotions swirled in her eyes, shock, hurt, understanding. I can't believe this, she murmured finally after what felt like an eternity of silence filled only by their breaths. I know this is hard, Nathan said gently, reaching out toward her across the table but stopping short when she flinched slightly away from his touch. But I want you both to know that my feelings for you haven't changed, he continued earnestly. I still love you both very much. Chloe took a deep breath, it was clear she was processing everything at once. The shock of learning about their relationship combined with concern for how it might affect their friendship moving forward. I need some time to think about this, she finally said quietly after several moments passed where no one spoke further. Of course, Alex replied softly. He felt a pang of sadness at seeing her so torn but understood how difficult this must be for her too. As dinner wrapped up without much more conversation, each person lost in their thoughts. The weight of what had just transpired hung heavily in the air around them like an unspoken promise waiting to be fulfilled or broken depending on how they chose to navigate this new territory together moving forward. That night as Alex lay awake staring up at the ceiling once more, wondering how everything would unfold, he realized that navigating love wasn't always easy but was worth every moment spent exploring its depths alongside those who mattered most in life, family and friends alike.